Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep this real short. We took about, well, we looked at 4 trades today, I think. We got ADO here. It's hard to tell where this pivot is because it's so barcodey. I was expecting 2.5 and ended up coming to 2.4. The news wasn't particularly crash hot, so it doesn't really matter. But the idea was just to scalp ticks. This broke out, drops, breaks, got the range. Went long at 2, should have queued up at 1.9. That's my amateur little fucking mistake. Ended up selling some at 1.9 and then some at 2.1 for basically a break-even trade. I haven't traded speckies much this year at all, and that's sort of, yes, because I've been away. It's not like riding a bike. You can't just go right back into trading speckies. They trade so technically different to everything else on the ASX, especially the order book. So easily spooked, and could have made a nice 3-4 ticks. Heaps of time to hit out when nothing's happening and going sideways. That's 10:16 in the morning. That's 10:44. There's a shitload of time around here to exit with decent liquidity as well. When a micro capper goes sideways on no volumes after 15 minutes, that's usually a sign that things aren't going to carry on forward, because the momentum for micro caps are very short. They're in short bursts to the upside. And, if it does pop, then it better be on very good liquidity in order to carry it on for another 15 minutes or so. So it's a bit of a timing thing. We're going to take a look at SFR. This was interesting. All right. Actually, before we look at SFR, let's look at what happened in the copper futures yesterday to justify holding an overnight trade. So there's 2 trades. One is a swing trade. The other is the overnight play. So the overnight play here was this bounce at 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. yesterday is when it started to recover, and I decided to buy SFR just to hold overnight. The expectation is, here's the daily chart for copper futures. The expectation was that it holds this pivot here, and it did so quite nicely. It bounced 2%, and overnight COPX, the ETF, rallied 3.7%, which is a really nice strong bounce. And you can see it's coming off in pre-market at the moment. That's fine. The swing trade's not meant to just go vertical. Bit unrealistic to expect, but for the overnight one, this very nice. This will offset any losses if my trade doesn't work out, that's for sure. So with SFR, bring up the 1 minute. So I ended up with a long at around 1750 yesterday. And I know I was meant to stop out below 1750, but I was watching it all day. I was quite confident based on the price action on the ETF, the futures for the copper price, that it would sort of recover both at the end of the day and gap up for the next day. And there was actually a really nice clean range break and retest. I ended up closing out on auction and 1 minute after auction as well. So nice break, retest, and rally for maybe another 30 cents on top, but I didn't end up taking that because I wasn't really expecting that. Plus I had the swing anyway. I left it alone and moved on to NST, which was sort of the more interesting news announcement for the day. It was a CEO resignation. It's been on a bit of a downward spiral, and I thought this news would be positive. A lot of people seem to think it was positive that the guy basically left. A new CEO coming in, I believe. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't read the whole announcement. I don't need to. Just the fact that it was going to be liquid was good enough for the day. So didn't do anything. Just watched. Big sort of wick in the morning, and then it rallied. Closing price, bit of resistance here. It's interesting because when you get this kind of barcode action so early in the morning on a big stock on catalyst news, it's not good. All right. You can have maybe a 2-3 minutes of this and then it pops, which is super normal. But there was quite a bit of volume coming in, and it didn't want to pop to the upside. So ended up getting 1926 average around here. Not the best. I mean, that's right in the midpoint of this range. So I could have been a little bit better. And I was expecting a little bit of a fake out. Actually, I was expecting a bigger fake out than that, honestly. But I'm grateful that it didn't. And once it sort of came back into range, added on short again, it did break down here. And look, this ultimately came down to impatience, right? Once it bounced, I was like, all right, this thing's just fucking around. Hit out, close out the short, made a handful of ticks, peanuts, absolute peanuts. And then of course it pukes, breaks VWAP. And if I did hold, where is the level to take profit? I think we all know by now, it is once VWAP breaks, it's going to be the open price of the day. So around this time, I ended up going, there wasn't too much price action going on in the markets, not really much catalyst news, nothing too exciting. So I decided to put a trade in. I was leaving to go get a haircut and do some shopping and stuff. I put in an order at 19 and 19.5 with a stop loss at 19.14, which is scarily close to where it was. It was one tick away. And we've been doing, that's 2 1-tick stops that I just barely missed 2 days in a row. So that's, I probably got to work on that. maybe work a little bit higher away from VWAP on these larger denomination stocks, around 20 bucks. What is that? That is 13 cents on a $19 stock. Okay, maybe I'll think about that. Think about how much room to give that next time. And of course it sinks, and this candle here is when I decide to close. So let's say around here, the midpoint, the entry breaks down and it fails to create lower lows, starts to go back up, and this is the point where I start covering. And of course comes back down again, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It fails to break yet again. Basically, when it stops making lower lows and it tries to make higher highs, I just don't. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm going to anticipate that it's going to try and make higher highs there, candle, and push through. And it does by 1 tick, but whatever. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Just this trade here, down to here. That's what, 1% maybe. Yeah, that's bang on 1% roughly. And yeah, that was NST in a nutshell. We're going to take a look at CAR. CAR is not looking particularly crash hot at the moment. Bang on where I was thinking of stopping, which is just below $25. $25.50. So tomorrow, any sign of red, I'm cutting this thing. It better recover, open at $25.70 and just a nice green candle to the side, or I'm cutting it. Yeah, I'm not going to give this much more than it's already done. So tomorrow, if it opens red, it's out. EOS was really interesting. This is a really interesting chart. Do another little pivot here. Clarify. Okay. Cool. So what we have is EOS doing a bit of a fake out on the downside here. Bit of a fake out. Bit of a recovery. Not much of one. There was, and it was going to close at the end of the day at the highs, but in the last half hour it puked it, which I did not expect. I would have loved to have got this auction price at 802. I think risk to reward, I think that is a fantastic entry. Yeah, I did not expect, because I was looking at the stock at around here, and yeah, I left the screens. I went to go do something else, and it just pukes it. I would love to have held that overnight, but there was just zero part of me thought that this was going to come off from, 25 cents. 25 cents to close. Did not see that coming. So that one is really interesting. I'm really going to be paying attention to EOS in the next couple of trading days, and to see if it shows any signs of recovery, because these kinds of fake outs like that usually end up very strong for the as a recovery. But again, we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. It's all dependent on tomorrow's price action. So guys, I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.